Alright guys, what it do? It's your boy X coming at you guys with another video. And in today's video, I want to talk about which is better, the traditional IRA or the Roth IRA. Like, which one is actually better to put your money in. And the reason I want to do this is so many people have this notion that traditional is pretty much terrible. Like, I mean, it's like, it's not the best, but I personally, think otherwise. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on the actual traditional account and the Roth account, which was pretty much what they both are, and why do I think one is slightly better than the other in actual retrospect. Because a lot of people just take the Roth better because it's tax-free money, so by default it's the best thing going. I beg the difference. So we're gonna get into why is that, and then I'm gonna tell you how I invest my money as far as the traditional and Roth. So let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so if you're new to the channel, my name is X. On this channel we pretty much just document my journey to becoming a millionaire, because who wouldn't want to see just a regular old average Joe make it? And if you like the root for the other dog, look no further than that subscribe button. So hit that subscribe button and most definitely like this video. But we are talking about traditional versus the Roth, which is actually better. Now, I want you to draw your own conclusion, but I also want you to hear me out. So if you don't know the difference, pretty much a traditional account is pre-tax, a Roth account is after tax. And pretty much what that means is, in a traditional account, let's say your paycheck was $1,000 this week. Your contribution to the traditional account will come out before your taxes. So say you gross $1,000. However, say you allocating $100 to your traditional account, that $100 will automatically go over there, which will leave your check at $900. Then your taxes will come out, and then you will have that net at the bank. Congratulations. In a Roth, it's completely different. Let's say you had that $1,000 check. Taxes will get deducted from your check. Let's say after that, your taxes, your check is $700 and you send that same $100. Then taxes take you to $7, and then that Roth contribution gonna drop you on down, boom, to $6. But you already paid taxes on that money. And that's pretty much the gist of the difference between the two, right? And you're like, okay, well, what do you mean, what's the difference? How do you know which one is better? So pretty much you're trying to figure out, do you want to pay taxes now, or would you rather pay taxes later? Now, the vast majority of people would choose to pay taxes now because they want their money to grow tax-free, right? Now, the reason why most people like that, because again, let's say you grow the account from zero, and 30, 40 years from now, it's worth $1 million. If it's worth $1 million, guess what? That $1 million is actually yours. You don't have to pay no taxes. Congratulations. That's a Roth. But a traditional account is different. Let's say you grow that money from zero to $1 million, same time frame. But when you get this on the other end of it, you now have to pay taxes. Of course, pretty sure you're gonna be in that most highest tax bracket of that time, regardless of what that number may be. That's a traditional. Most people are like, well, why would I want to pay taxes when I have all that money? That sucks. I wouldn't want to do that. I would prefer to pay my taxes now, so later on my money will be my money. And hey, that's a logical, sound idea. It sounds amazing. That's why most people believe that the Roth is the best option. But I'm here to tell you that, hey, I think otherwise. So why do I actually think that the actual traditional account is better, right? Because it just sounds so much better to go ahead and pay the taxes, because at a later point taxes could be higher, which is the argument that most people use, right? And most people just don't know this title, Uncle Sam digging their hands in it, right? Now, traditional account. This is why, again, I advocate that traditionals are really what the vast majority of people should actually invest their money in. Because so many people get caught up in the actual concept of taxes that they're literally just like, oh, well, tax-free, tax-free. And that's a good marketing tip. Now, I'm not saying Roth is bad, but also with it, I'm not saying traditional is the worst option here. Now, hear me out. Did you know the actual traditional account, again, you would get taxed at, however much you think you'll be in the future. So, I don't know. Let's just say you're making 60K for the majority of your work career, right? As you retire, like a normal, middle class person would do, you start to get into retirement mode where you make sure all your house is either paid off and up to date, so you won't have any big expenses, right? Okay, your car's paid off, your house is paid off, you don't have any big expenses, right? Great. So now comes time for you to actually retire, 59 and a half. You start capitalizing all that good investing you've been doing all them years. Take that easy road off into doing whatever you choose to do, right? You will only be taxed. Of course, the tax brackets will be different by then. Not saying it's not, but you'll be taxed at how much you start to pull out, because technically you do not actually have to pull out all at once, right? And for the vast majority of people who work, right, actually work, the middle class people like myself, you're not going, the most people, I'm not saying everybody, but vast majority of people who retire do not retire with more money than actually what you have. You may have an actual large lump sum more than you ever have, but you're not making more yearly than you did when you were working. And that's a big factor or key clue or context clue, or however you want to look at it. Like, it's like a big indicator of like something that people should consider when they're talking about traditional versus Roth. Because traditional, like, again, say you saved $1 million, but you're only taking out $40,000 a year, right? Cool. You were making 60 when you was actually working, which means your income actually went down. So if your income went down, you actually would be getting taxed less than you were when you were actually employed. And yes, with a Roth account, the taxes are already done and out of here. But with the traditional account, again, most people are going with the incentive that when you retire, you're going to be making more than you did when you actually worked. And again, I'm not saying you're not. I hope you do. Hey, best wishes. But truthfully, the vast majority of people are not going to make more when they retire versus when they work. Like for me, instance, I don't know where I will be in the future, but as of right now, how it's looking, I'm clearing 6 figures with my job alone. You factor in like dividends and properties and all that, right? If I were to retire, I would lose 6 figures worth of income. So at that point, unless all of my business things I'm going on, maybe my YouTube pop off, maybe I get 10 more rental properties. We can hope, right? But we talking like, what's the most highest possibility thing? I won't make more in retirement. I will make more while I'm an active worker. Hopefully I could work until, I'm 60, 80 years old. But in hindsight, when I retire, I'm not going to make more money than when I'm an active worker. So in that same sense, I will be in a lower tax bracket, which is why I think traditional accounts actually should be something that you consider investing a lot of your money in. And also another factor that traditional has over Roth is, with a Roth account outside of this year, in 2022 whatever, we only invest up to $6,000 into the account a year. So that means every single year you would only be able to invest $6,000, which is roughly about $500 a month, right? Okay, cool. I know that's probably a large pool for some people to do, but if you're really trying to grind and do it, 6K is great, but what about the remainder of the year? You can't do any more in that account, so you just stuck to let that account grow. With a traditional account, you can put up to like $22,500. $6,000 for the actual Roth, or $22,500 for the traditional. If you have the means to do it, the traditional account, you can put more money in. So again, traditional to me wins. So not only, again, if we talk about retiring, of course it's a coin toss, right? Depending on the person you are in retirement, no taxes, or lower tax bracket when you were working, right? Next thing, who wins? Only contributing $6,000 a year in the Roth, you're able to contribute $22,500 a year in the traditional. Come on now, right? And another factor that people should really consider when thinking traditional versus Roth, again, with your Roth account, you already prepay taxes, right? Again, prepay taxes. So you already paid the tax on it, that money go over there. But with traditional, let's say, you contribute 20,000 of the 22,500 that you're able to contribute, right? You max it out at 20. You don't get the whole 22,500, but you did 20. That 20 will get subtracted from your actual income. So let's say you made 6 figures. Truthfully, you made 80 because you invested 20K into your traditional. So now that lowers your tax bracket right there. Whereas with your Roth, again, if you made 100,000, hey, you just made 100,000. You more than likely will be in a higher tax bracket. You have to pay more taxes. So every single year over 30 years, you're gonna pay more in taxes. So now every single year you're making less in taxes. And again, if in retirement you actually make less money than you did when you are an active worker, which is highly more likely a thing that will happen, you will actually pay less taxes again when you start to withdraw. And again, when you withdraw, it's not like you're gonna say, hey, I just retired, give it all to me, right? You would just take out what you can, and then whenever it's a certain age, I can't think of it off the top of my head what it is, but at a certain point they may force you to take it all out, but it's not right away. I think it's like 65. I'm gonna have to look that up, I can't remember. But again, you're not just gonna snipe all of it. You're gonna take 40,000 a year, 40,000 a year, maybe 50,000 a year, right? But you're gonna make that money stretch as long as possible. So you're not like you're just gonna say, hey, this 1 year I just sold out all of this. No, $1 million at one time, I have to pay all $300,000 taxes at once. No, you're just gonna take out what you need for say a year. So let's say you can survive off 50K a year, 40K a year, 30K a year, 60K a year. You're just gonna take 60 of that $1 million you had invested, and you will pay taxes at that point. But again, when you were an active worker, more than likely you made more, right? So again, the traditional account is not as bad as people give it credit for. So again, when you really think about it, is the Roth better? So with all my opinions that I'm just throwing out there, right? What do? Me personally, I do max out my Roth every year. Actually, I should have my Roth maxed out by no later than the first check of March of this year. Good job, me. And then after that, again, with my actual 401k traditional, I contribute about $400 per paycheck into that account. And it's growing pretty good, right? Hopefully this year I bet it contribute a little bit more. But again, the vast majority of my investment goes to that traditional account, and I do max out the Roth. So I do a little of both, a little hybrid investing. But again, if the Roth had it where you can contribute more, of course I would, but it doesn't. So again, traditional. And I do try my best to max out that traditional. Like this year specifically, I normally would do just a $400 per check and just let that ride out, right? But now that I'm getting more into investing, I'm really trying to like maximize everything, because I truly believe you can just maximize the actual investment order, which I might do a video on, like the proper way to invest in a proper order to make sure you get everything right. If I go in a proper order and actually try my best to max out that traditional, yeah, I mean, again, my money will grow tenfold faster. So again, traditional account people, take the time to look up the benefits. Do you think you're gonna make more in retirement? If the answer is no, it's okay. Most of us don't, but again, traditional accounts can help you with that. It can. Like I said, I'm not afraid to say it. I make a lot of money right now, right? Well, it's not like I'm not Graham Stephan rich, but for a middle class person, I'm doing pretty good, right? And I can tell you now, at the trajectory I'm going, you take out, I don't know how my actual investments will go. Like I'm hoping, of course, we're all gonna hope they're great, but let's say I do mediocre. Let's just say I start running into maintenance issues and have to sell a property and all that. Just straight focus. The primary source of my income will be my job. Do I think I will make more than that in retirement? No. Like I am literally working a lot of hours. Again, I'm above the average for the United States. So again, I mean, I'm double above it. So do I think that by some square odd chance outside of my investment, I'm going to do better than what I'm doing as an active worker? I don't. And I'm okay with it. And that's why, again, I try my best to contribute and invest as much money as I possibly can. But again, most people, we're not going to be, no, I'm not like right now making 100K. I will hope in 10, 15, 5, 3 years, right, I'm making 200,000. But in retirement, I would like to keep the same amount of money I'm making now, which would be love, right? But again, that requires a lot of work and a lot of precision, and I'm trying my best. But again, if it falls through or I get injured or something happens or I lose my drive, do I think I'm gonna make more in retirement? No. And again, that's okay. Look into traditional accounts, people. They are not as bad as you think. I promise you they're not. But I would love to hear your 2 cents on the matter. Traditional Roth, how are you doing? Are you doing a hybrid investment strategy like me? Are you just strictly Roth and you got other business ventures going on? Or are you like, hey, I'm just strictly traditional because I never actually even looked at this stuff and I'm just letting them take my money and just hoping when I retire, I have something in the end. It's okay if that's what you do, but hey, I would love to hear about it. Leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe. And again, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do a video on the order in which I invest and like probably to maximize your investments. So make sure you subscribe for that. But it's your boy X here, and I'm out.